So John finds that there was a failure by the security service to act swiftly enough and problems with the sharing of information between the security service and counter-terrorism policing. Following the publication of the report, the Director General of MI5 and the head of counter-terrorism policing offered their profound apologies for not preventing the attack. Sir John does not blame any of the educational establishments that the bomber attended for failing to identify that he was a risk, but he does find that more needs to be done to ensure that education providers share relevant information about students. Sir John concludes that the bomber should have been subject to a prevent referral at some point in 2015 or 2016, adding that, however, it is very hard to say what would have happened if he had been approached under Prevent or the Channel programme. The police investigation into the attack, Operation Manteline, is praised. Although Sir John cannot conclude whether the attack would have been prevented, he finds that there was a significant missed opportunity to take further investigative action that he judges might have led to information which could have prevented it. While this is welcome, and the Home Office will work at pace with both organisations to act on the Chairman's recommendations, we must not lose sight of the fact that responsibility for the attack lies with the bomber and his brother. So these conclusions require careful consideration, Madam Deputy Speaker. Since 2017, the government has made a number of changes to how we deal with and seek to prevent terrorist attacks. We have given law enforcement and intelligence agencies improved powers. We have strengthened the controls around access to explosives precursors. We've strengthened the management of terrorist and terrorist risk offenders in prison and on licence. We've ended the automatic early release of terrorist offenders in England, Wales and Scotland. And we've ensured that the sentences served by terrorists reflect the severity of their offending. And we've strengthened the tools for monitoring dangerous people in the community. We've invested heavily in counter-terrorism, unveiling a new counter-terrorism operations centre in 2021 that brings together partners from counter-terrorism policing, the intelligence agencies, the criminal justice system and other government agencies. This will allow minute-by-minute collaboration between teams in the police and the MI5. Last year's integration of Special Branch into the National CT Policing Network will improve our response to the full range of national security threats, boost skills and ensure better communication between agencies and a more consistent and effective national response. Work is currently underway to develop a new faith security training scheme to raise security awareness amongst faith communities and help them to mitigate threats. We continue to engage with faith organisations and security experts to develop this scheme. In April, my right honourable friend, the member for Witham, announced the continuation of the Jewish Community Protective Security Grant for 2022. In May, new funding was allocated to provide protective security at mosques and Muslim faith schools. In response to any terrorist attack affecting British nationals in the UK or overseas, the Home Office's Victims of Terrorism unit works to ensure the right support is available to them. The unit is conducting an internal review to strengthen their work. I am overseeing a comprehensive review of the contest strategy to combat terrorism. This follows on from the independent review of Prevent, led by William Shawcross, which assessed the programme's effectiveness in stopping people from becoming terrorists or supporting terrorism. And as the independent review made clear, Prevent requires major reform, and I've accepted all of the review's recommendations. It has underestimated the threat of Islamist extremism, which remains by far the biggest that we face. Too often, it has minimised the role of ideology in terrorism. Prevent will focus on security, not on political correctness, and its first objective will be to tackle the ideological causes of terrorism. The government has also developed a comprehensive system of support for the owners and operators of public places across the UK. This includes access to research-driven expertise through products delivered by the National Counter-Terrorism Security Office and the Centre for Protection of National Infrastructure. But we must go further, Madam Deputy Speaker. Martin's Law, formerly known as the Protect Duty, will introduce proportionate new security requirements for certain public premises throughout the UK. They will be better prepared, ready to respond, and their staff will know what to do in the event of a terrorist attack. Martin's Law will clarify who is responsible for security activity at the premises in scope, increasing accountability. We are also considering how a full inspection function will oversee compliance to provide appropriate advice and, where necessary, to sanction. Martin Hett was one of those killed in Manchester. I'm enormously grateful to his mother, Fegan Murray, and the Martin Laws campaign team, as well as to Survivors Against Terror and all security partners, businesses, charities, local authorities and victims group that have informed our work. I've always been humbled when I've met them and heard about their experiences. The doctrines that underpin how the emergency services respond to incidents have improved since the attack. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to close by once again recognising the anguish and courage of the loved ones of those who were killed or hurt on that dreadful night that united the country in sorrow and in disgust. We will continue to work non-stop to prevent further such tragedies being visited upon others, and I commend this statement to the House.
Thank you.